Hello and welcome, and in this training video we're going to talk all things first aid kits. In accordance with the Work Health and Safety Act or the Occupational Health and Safety Act, all workplaces, including commercial vehicles, must have a first aid kit. Please visit our website at reviva.com.au. You can check out a full list under the Code of Practice for your state or territory and the exact items that you require. We also have an audit and order form there if need be. So I'm going to just briefly now dissect each item, and this is one that comes in nicely compartmentalised. Let's go for it. Between you and the casualty, protection gloves. Always have a pair of gloves for protection both to you, to the casualty, and the casualty to you. Saline irrigation. We use this for cleaning purposes. It acts as an antiseptic. It can also be used on eyes. If it's a dirty wound, such an abrasion, we can get antiseptic wounds, only to be used on superficial wounds on the skin. It can act as a spray or a wipe. For an abrasion or a burn that weeps, it's only an ooze or a weep, we can utilise a non-stick dressing it's just a thin film of non-stick which we can apply after cooling a burn or cleaning. We can keep this in place with either micropore tape or a conforming bandage. In the event that we need to pick out loose debris, and I emphasise loose, we would use tweezers. Tweezers are handy also to keep, like so, if you're applying, so that you can keep your fingers, especially on sterile pads. Sometimes we need to inspect the wound before applying bleeding control for a laceration and an incision. It may be necessary to cut through clothing, and also trauma shears are important for the use of an automated external defibrillator. External bleeding control. We would use an absorbent pad, which is called a combine dressing, and then we would use a medium or heavy crate bandage to apply the pressure. So there's your external bleeding control. However, there's a couple of other items we can use. There's a number 13, 14 and 15 wound dressing. I've got a 14 and a 15. They're made up of simply a pad and a bandage all in one. So if you like, it's the 2-in-1. Very, very handy indeed. Used over 100 years ago in World War I. Still packed in military kits today. Somebody goes into shock, wrap them in a thermal blanket. The idea of this, it acts as a mirror whereby it reflects back into the heat of the person, so it creates a warm environment for them. Triangular bandages, what can't they do? We can use them as pads, slings, and various other items which we will be finding out during training today. Other items of interest. In the event that there's no running water for burns, we have burn gel sachets. It's important that we only ever put on the commercially prepared water-soluble gels on there in the absence, and then of course doing that. After that, you'd place a non-stick dressing with light bandaging if there was no running water for burns. In the trades, you'd need splinter probes. Again, you would only get out a splinter if it was superficial. These are sterile needles, if you like, just to pick out any superficial. Of course, that's a sharps. So after we use this, make sure you deposit it into a sharps container. Band-aids, trademark Johnson & Johnson. They're referred to as plastic adhesive strips. Ironically, just before this video, I cut my finger, paper cut, so I have a Band-aid or a plastic adhesive strip there. Ziploc watertight bags for collection of vomit for accidental or deliberate overdose ingested. Of course, very handy for amputations for tips of fingers, toes, etc. Other items that you may see are steri strips or butterfly closures for an incision. They act as temporary suturing. You can get a pad that's in an elliptical arc, and we call that an iPad. And other than these items, you may wish to have, if you're going to do active resuscitation, a pocket mask or some sort of face shield. Over and above this, in accordance to your risk assessment, you could add there, if you're a childcare centre, a gym or a school, a reliever medication with a spacer device, and or something like an auto-injector EpiPen. So that's a first aid kit. Visit our website for further information. I'm Ori. Thanks for your time. We'll see you soon.